The Federal Executive Council has approved a 27.5 trillion naira budget for the year 2024. This is an increase of 1.5 trillion naira from the year 2023 budget. President Bola Tinubu is scheduled to present the appropriation bill to the National Assembly on Wednesday. The Council also approved the submission of National Human Rights Report to the United Nations, underscoring the government's commitment to international cooperation. State House correspondent Adesoa Marwa reports.
The Federal Executive Council meeting this week addresses pivotal issues spanning the economy, human rights, and airport security checks. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning secures the green light for the 2024 appropriation bill. The approved proposed budget, totaling a staggering 27.5 trillion naira, allocates substantial funds to critical sectors, prioritizing the 8-point renewed hope agenda of the administration,
which is an increase of over 1.5 trillion from the previously estimated using the old reference prices. The forecast revenue is now 18.32 trillion, which is higher than the 2023 revenues, including that provided in the two supplementary budgets. Equally and commendably, the deficit is lower than that of 2023.
Key approvals also included a revision of the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and significant financing measures, notably over $100 million in loan for waste management and road rehabilitation in Abia State, predating the Tinubu administration. Additionally, a substantial $1 billion concessional financing was also approved from the African Development Bank for general budget support.
Two of the important decisions was to use an exchange rate of 750 naira to a dollar, and also a benchmark crude oil reference price of $77.96, meaning $4 more than the earlier approval. This will significantly increase revenue.
There was financing of $1 billion, concessional financing, 25 years, 8 years moratorium at about the same 4.2% per annum, which was approved by the African Development Bank for this administration. And really, it was a recognition of the macroeconomic measures that have been taken.
The Minister of Justice announces that Nigeria is set to submit its national report on human rights records to the United Nations, marking the first such submission in 5 years.
After engaging critical stakeholders in the country in each of the 6 geopolitical zones, and including all the three tiers of government, the state, national, and at the national, state, and local government level, we compiled a report which we are sending to the United Nations on human rights, universal periodic review for consideration.
To enhance airport security checks and improve passenger experience, the Council approves an allocation of 3.2 billion naira for explosive and narcotic detection systems across 5 airports in the country.
Since I came to office, we have been inundated with complaints of the harrowing experience, or experiences that passengers go through at the airports where they have to physically search their bags. And so it's for the approval of the award of contract for the supply and installation of customized explosive and narcotics detection screening systems with remote and dual view for the international airports of Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, and Enugu.
Simultaneously, the Federal Executive Council endorses the signing of a bilateral air service agreement with the Republic of Guyana, facilitating direct flights between the two nations. Before the commencement of the Council meeting, President Tinubu swore in 8 newly appointed permanent secretaries, symbolizing their official induction. Adesoa Omorwan, Arise News.
Dr. Bati.
Okay, number one, in terms of timing, the Tinubu administration had promised that it will keep to the December to January to December cycle of presenting budget to the public. And it has kept that promise by saying that tomorrow, President Tinubu will lay before the National Assembly the 2024 appropriation bill. Now, whatever has been proposed by government is not automatic. It still has to be approved by the National Assembly, and then it becomes law. Number two, before now, the government had gone to the National Assembly to present a medium-term economic framework, MTEF, and the fiscal policy strategy, which was approved by the National Assembly. But what is being presented now is 1.5 trillion higher than what was presented earlier. And then also the benchmark is different. In the MTEF, the benchmark was 700 naira to the dollar. Now they have increased that to 750 to the dollar. And then the crude oil benchmark in the MTEF that was approved by the National Assembly was $73. Now that has been increased by $4 to $77. And the excuse, we're told by the Minister of Budget Planning, is that the president wants to get more revenue. Okay, what remains to ask is how realistic is this review, this amendment? The spot price of crude oil as of this morning is in the range of about $80. Although OPEC is going to meet, OPEC Plus is meeting on Thursday on the back of the COP28, because there were disagreements between African countries and some of the other members of OPEC Plus. So the meeting had to be postponed till Thursday this week. If they come through with the production cuts that Saudi Arabia, Russia, and others have agreed to, maybe, benchmarking with $77 as crude oil benchmark in the 2024 budget may well make sense. But we see. Thursday will tell us what will happen. Although the indication is that Nigeria continues to rely heavily on crude oil revenue, crude oil receipts. Again, the positive thing that we were told is that budget deficit compared to 2023 budget has gone down in this proposal. And that also the projection for revenue is higher than was the case in 2023. But this same budget proposal that the president is taking to the National Assembly tomorrow includes borrowings, $1 billion from African Development Bank, another $100 million, and then some money from the Canadian African Development Bank Fund. These are borrowings. So, but if you look at it, it looks like revenue is lower than projected revenue, which means that we're still basically going to borrow to fund these budgets. However, the Minister of Budget Planning says that the focus will be on the major priority areas: health, education, infrastructure, and other development areas. Some people may find some value in that regard. Now, again, what I find interesting at the cabinet meeting yesterday is that we were told by the by the Speaker of the House of Reps, Tajuddin Abbas, that Nigerians are going to be given an opportunity to be part of this budget process, which is an interesting development. And he made a point that this is the first time this will happen. Well, first time, yes, but civil society had always argued that the budget of passing the business of passing the appropriation bill should not be left alone to lawmakers. And at a time when the present National Assembly, the 10th National Assembly, is considered more or less a rubber stamp assembly, as somebody was arguing either persuasively or not on this program recently. it would be nice to allow civil society to also be part of that process. And we hope that the National Assembly, in making that appropriation bill available for public debate, would respect public opinion in this regard and also be appreciative of whatever input that is made by Nigerians. Now, there's some talk about some concessionary borrowing affecting Abia State, the $1 billion that was referred to. Well, we will need to know the details of that borrowing, but we're told it's for infrastructure in Abia State. Another issue is that at the cabinet meeting yesterday, the government approved about 3.23 billion naira for the purchase of narcotics detection systems by the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development. And the Minister of Aviation has been quoted as saying, look, we have a country where the 5 major international airports in Kano, Enugu, Port Harcourt, Abuja, Lagos. Immigration officials, customs officials, they will ask you to open your bags and they will be rifling through with their dirty fingers. I think it's an important development that they want to buy scanning machines, electronic machines that can be used, and that those machines will not be destroyed willfully by these problematic officials that we have at our airports, so that the airports can be of international standard. And the minister who says he's going to meet with the heads of agencies in the aviation industry today may also well go a step further and pay attention to how they search people. All these people at the airports, they'll be pressing other people's wives' breasts. They'll be touching people's crotch. They don't do that internationally. Maybe Keyamo is not aware of that, but I brought it up now. So let them buy detection machines that will show respect for the dignity of the human person. So these are the major highlights. The other highlight that they brought up yesterday was Nigeria submitting its human rights report to the United Nations Commission on Human Rights, which will meet in 2024, in February 24. So this will be done ahead of 2024. And I think that's a good development to the extent that Nigeria, being a signatory to these international conventions, has a responsibility to meet its obligations under international law. So it's over now, it's up now to the National Assembly to look at what has been proposed and for Nigerians to be allowed truly to participate in it. And Nigerians should be given enough notice for the public hearing. Not that they will publish the public hearing notice the same day they are passing the budget. That happened before in the past. It should not happen again.
So one thing is certain, a budget is just a proposal. But a proposal also speaks volumes about how the government listens to the plight of people. A lot will still change. But at first, are the parameters realistic? 750 to the dollar. I thought the minister used to say that the fair value of the naira to the dollar was 700. Are we quickly losing the narrative already? That's a big question the Minister of Finance needs to answer. Also, the proposal as regards, benchmark price of crude oil, it's quite fluid, it's been up lately. But are we constantly going to depend on crude oil? Isn't it time to start looking for other manifestations to be able to run our economy? Kudos to the tax authorities. Pretty much most of the money shared from FAC, the bulk of it has been coming from taxes. But can we increase our revenue base by not hurting the hitherto hurt economy? I mean, these are questions we'll have to answer. And we would also like to see the blow-by-blow account, the line item of this budget. Only recently, Serap was talking about not giving loans to the government. And I'll tell you why Serap was talking about not giving loans to the government. I need to extensively read some insights to a lot of our listeners to be able to hear the shocking reality of how state governors had spent some of the monies they got and the sad reality on Nigeria's growth prospect. For instance, Benue State, Serap said in a report that Benue government reportedly spent 34 billion on special day celebration, welfare packages, security votes, and the likes. Borno, Cross River, Ebonyi states and all of that spent 32 billion, 43 billion, 156 billion, 30 billion, and 41 billion respectively on frivolous items. Ekiti reportedly spent 31 billion on local and international travel, transport, miscellaneous such as welfare packages, refreshment, honorarium, allowances, and sitting. Enugu and Gombe states respectively 33 billion and 24 billion on frivolous items. Imo reportedly spent 58 billion on refreshment, meals, welfare packages, and other allowances. Jigawa 49 billion on supplies, drugs, vaccines, medical supplies, stationaries. Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, KB, Kwara respectively spent 27 billion, 17 billion, 40 billion, 24 billion, 41 billion, 58 billion on frivolous items. And more of these frivolous items also go on in the line item of the budget. We remember Honorable Jubril back in the days that talked about budget padding and how he revealed the National Assembly. Because you see, when this proposal, and President Tinubu is likely to present today, tomorrow, present this proposal to the National Assembly, then the National Assembly also now pad with their own projects, which was revealed by Mr. Jubril. But I'm not going to preempt the National Assembly. I'm not going to say they're going to pad this. But we need to open our eyes and look at all of this project with scrutiny. Lisa, our budget is padded. Because it's just a proposal. This is not the final figure. When the National Assembly takes a look at it, they remove some things they put in there. The number might go up. So we need to be able to ask and scrutinize the process. And I'd like to say very big kudos to Mr. Funsho Doherty, that has also even responded to the Lagos State government based on their hitherto response. But it was the one that opened our eyes to all of these things that we hitherto, up till now, we know that they do happen. So please, there must be accountability. When all of this is prepared, we must be able to see the line item. And please, I know it goes to about 500, 600 pages, but you must be able to scrutinize with a fine-tooth comb and also benchmark with projects they say they have done. Any project they claim that is in your locality, you should try as much as possible to investigate and raise alarm. Because I tell us this morning that developing our country is a collective responsibility of all. And the greatest office in the land is the office of the citizen of the Federal Republic. So we all have to collectively scrutinize the budget. Also, we need to demand accountability, because if you check the medium-term expenditure framework, it talks about close to 26 trillion in borrowing for the next 4 years. The sad reality is that we are owing debts already on ground that generation yet unborn will have to pay. What do we want for our country? So these are questions that I'm asking as regards the budget.